What's going on, everybody? It's the NBA Guru Show. I'm Zach. This is Naf, and we're going crazy live today with the free agent updates. Pretty crazy stuff. The Kings were busy today, made a couple moves, and actually, yeah, they made a few moves today, and a lot of teams making some pretty significant moves here. And we got a lot to go through, man. This is some of the best parts of the NBA. One of the final things of the season, to be honest. So it's good to be on. Good to talk some basketball before they go summer league and before it goes dead. It's good to talk ball, man. I love this time of the year. How you feeling, Neff?
Yeah, no, it's there was some big moves with a little bomb in the morning with Milwaukee and then Denver, two past championship champions making moves, and then Sacramento, of course, with their bombshell of a move that's just absolutely earth shattering and just gonna shake things up in Sacramento that I think everyone was waiting for. So yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, a lot of stuff happened in the NBA today. This free agency has been more like sort of like I want to say like not the big names like maybe it used to be, but I feel like the contracts are not as big also because of the hard cap, the second apron. If you remember, like in 2016, like they were just handing out money like it was
Oh
candy.
yeah,
Timothy
Mozgov.
Mozgov, yeah, Luol Deng, man, these guys were getting like so much money. Joakim Noah, I think, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not like that anymore. It's definitely a different NBA. So
Yeah, that's all true. And yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, I think you mentioned it before, like the extensions are a big deal now. Like everyone gets extended now, so like the free agency is a little bit not as hype, not as many big candidates and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
um,
exactly.
but yeah, let's just get right to it, man. We'll start with Milwaukee. You mentioned him. Damian Lillard gets waived, stretch waived. Unbelievable stuff. Did not see it coming. He was going to be out for the year with an Achilles injury. And Milwaukee was like, yo, we're in panic mode. We got to make sure Giannis is happy. So we're going to make moves. So we'll start with Damian getting stretched. And then we're going to do a little bit of some Myles Turner signing. Crazy. Myles Turner signed by the Bucks. Thought he was going to stay in Indiana. But Bucks needed to replace Brooke Lopez, who went to the Clippers today. Um, and yeah, I mean, Myles Turner, good defensive fit for the Bucks. What'd you think about the move, Naf?
The Myles Turner move, I was surprised. I really thought he was going to go back to Indiana for 3 for 100. I think was the number, and I think he signed for 4 for 107, right? For
Yeah.
at Milwaukee, so they got that extra year. I'm surprised Indiana didn't match that, or I don't know what happened with Indiana between India. Maybe Indiana just didn't want to pay him the 30 million. They thought that his offense was pretty bad like we said during the NBA Finals. His defense hasn't fallen off as much as his offense, but yeah, I mean, I was surprised, especially given the team's history. These guys have been like it's been sort of like one of the biggest rivals in the NBA. Myles Turner is going to be 33 at the end of this contract. Milwaukee, I feel like just this is the reason that they made the stretch. The stretch buyout for Dame
Yeah.
was to sign Myles Turner. But no, I mean, yeah, I thought Myles Turner this season definitely took a dip. I thought in the NBA Finals his offense was really poor. I thought that pretty much all he had was his interior defense. And I don't know if Indiana thought that was worth committing 3 for 100, and maybe they just thought that maybe they could find a cheaper big on the market. Maybe DeAndre Ayton can maybe they feel like they could get DeAndre Ayton for cheaper. I think DeAndre Ayton's actually the team that they offered the restricted sheet to when he was a
Oh yeah.
restricted free agent in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's true.
So they have had interest in DeAndre Ayton, but listen, man, you can't question this Pacers front office when they make moves. They're one of the smartest front offices as we've seen. So I mean, I was surprised by it, but I understand it. I think that they have something planned as a backup. So in terms of Myles Turner, yeah, I mean, took me by surprise, but we'll wait and see to see what Indiana does. They do need a center for sure, though.
Yeah. What'd you think about the Damian getting, and now it's going to be about 22 million a year for the Bucks and dead cap for the next 5 years. So pretty
Yeah.
crazy move.
Insane. When I woke up and saw this, I was absolutely, I mean, I just couldn't believe it. Like you said, he had 2 years and $112 million left on his contract. So instead of just letting that play out, I guess Milwaukee decided to stretch and waive him, which just means that when you stretch him, you multiply the number of years left on the contract by 2 and then add a 1. So essentially becomes a 5-year contract at a $22.5 million annual average value, or instead of paying him 51 million this year and then 50 whatever the
Yeah.
annual average would be, if so about like 55 56 million
Yeah.
this year and then next year, and then he's just off the books. So now you have 22.5 million in dead cap money, which is insane for 5 seasons. This is a shocking move financially. I don't really understand it. I guess so. Only 15% of the cap can be dead cap, like dead money. And so the 15% would be a 23.1 million. And with this brings Dame Lillard to 22.5 million of dead cap money. So they pretty much exhausted everything they could to do this. I don't know if it was maybe, yeah, I guess you do this to bring Myles Turner in, but I don't know if maybe in the future, if they just think that, you know what, in 4 or 5 seasons, Giannis isn't going to be here. Our books can take this $22.5 million cap hold hit. And because the problem with this is like you can't get off of it. Like it's
Yeah.
$22.5 million on your books for 5 seasons. You can't trade it. You can't move it. It's on your books. Like no matter what, the Bucks have $22.5 million on their books for the next 5 seasons, as opposed to where if they would have just tried to move Dame, they could have got his contract off the books. Maybe someone would take the expiring next year. Maybe you could get. I mean, you probably couldn't get much back for Dame. And in regards to like Dame the player, like he's 34 years old. He tore his Achilles. Like I think that he's pretty much never going to be the same Dame again.
Yeah.
So I don't think he had honestly any value in the open market. So I think that this move was just purely financial, and I think that I'm sure they tried to shop him, but yeah, I mean, I was surprised by this move. I think this is the largest buyout ever, if I recall correctly. So definitely, this is definitely not something that you usually see in the NBA a lot. So for them to buy him out took me by surprise. And usually when it's a buyout, it's like a smaller, maybe like an older vet, smaller contract. So yeah, this was definitely the most shocking news of the day in my opinion, and probably the biggest bombshell, especially in regards to like the snowball effect it might have with Giannis and what Milwaukee ended up doing with the money with Myles Turner and bringing in Gary Harris and the other signings, Gary Trent, I believe they re-signed. So yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, you are right. This was the largest NBA buyout in history. This was almost 113 million bucks.
Mm-hmm.
The largest one before that was 31 million, and that's by a player by the name of Bison Dele from the Denver Nuggets in 2000.
Wow, crazy.
So that's almost 80 million bucks, even more of the
Mm-hmm.
buyout. I am pretty shocked. I mean, maybe you made a good point saying that maybe in like when there's no Giannis, it's not really gonna matter. They're just gonna like tank or something like that. So like
Yeah.
without Giannis, they're gonna be cooked anyway. It's a good point. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is panic mode time for the Bucks, so I can see it in their perspective. It is panic mode. Like Giannis is kind of confused. He was actually confused by this, according to his Twitter, for his for why they did this. I don't know if he's too happy, but you got to do whatever it takes. So they got Myles Turner out of with some of that cap, and now they got to figure more stuff because this team is not good enough yet to be a contender and to be a top 2 or 3 East team. There's still a decent 4 or 5 teams I'd probably put ahead. But yeah, the Bucks. I mean, man, they're not that far off. They're not that far off. They throw some firsts for a Trey Murphy or something, or a Herb Jones or something with Kuzma, or
Yeah,
that could get them a little bit to a top 2 or 3 team, to at least contend a little bit. But right now, I mean, right now their lineup is like Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kuzma, Giannis, and Myles Turner. That's not a
yeah.
great lineup. uh,
That's not. Yeah, that's a good point. Like the Trey Murphy deal. If they could get like one more piece, like you said, and
yeah.
then I think the problem is like their bench is pretty thin right now. Bobby Portis coming off the bench. They just re-signed Torian Prince. They re-signed Jericho Sims.
Mhm.
They declined the qualifying offer for Ryan Rollins, which I was surprised because I thought he looked pretty good, but they might just be bringing him back on a minimum. Actually, that's a good like Ryan Rollins is a good. I mean, as a Lakers fan, I would like to take a shot on him, but just a good young player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Milwaukee will probably try to bring him back. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that I agree with you. I still think that because Giannis output this team, I think they're a top 6 team in the East. I think they're in that 6 to 5. I don't.
Five,
They're not
six,
in the
right.
top 4. I think they're
Right.
hovering around 6-5 with Detroit maybe. I think. Yeah, I would say between Milwaukee and Detroit, I think those two teams will finish 5 and 6 right now.
Yeah.
Um,
But they're not far off. Like, it's like one move, and they're probably getting that top 3,
yeah,
4.
if they could get like you said, like trade Kyle Kuzma for Trey Murphy, that would be a good move.
Yeah.
I do like Gary Trent Jr. I wish the Lakers would have kicked tires on him. Good 3-point shooter. He has some big games in the playoffs too, if you remember, dropping
Mhm.
30 plus
Oh, yeah.
points multiple times versus uh, um, the Pacers. So yeah, I think that yeah, I think the Bucks got better today. I definitely do think that because I think that Dame Lillard, like I said, 34 years old, coming off a torn Achilles, he's he's
Yeah.
not going to help your roster in any way for the foreseeable future. So to at least you made a maneuver to where you opened up some cap space and you're able to bring in Myles Turner. I don't know what other moves they had that they could have made or like what's really out there. I mean, there isn't much out there, but for them to steal Myles Turner is it's not bad. It's not bad.
All right, let's get to another team that improved pretty significantly today, in my opinion, and in my eyes at least. Is the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr. in an unprotected 2032
Yeah,
first round pick uh,
correct.
for Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets. Love the trade for Denver. Love what they did all around today. They picked up Bruce Bowen on, I think it was a veteran minimum. Was it a veteran minimum?
I believe it was a vet minimum because
Yeah,
yeah, they did because
uh,
he was unrestricted free agent, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so he
So
comes back. Yeah,
they
that
got
was a good
him,
move.
and they also got Tim Hardaway Jr. as well, and signed him. So pretty good moves for Denver. I like it a lot. I like that they any like and they
Don't forget
yeah,
about JV.
they got Jonas Valanciunas for Dario Saric. We'll get to that one in a bit, for when we talk Kings, because we'll be talking Kings real soon. But for the Nuggets, man, I love it. I think like any marginal, like this is like fairly significant improvement. I think just getting Cam minutes over Michael Porter Jr. minutes. They're gonna get Jonas Valanciunas minutes as the backup big, so that'll help them out on the non-Jokic minutes. Uh, they got a shooter now, another shooter, Tim Hardaway Jr. So it gives them depth. That was another bad thing they had, was the depth they had for their bench. And Bruce was a very good player for their title when they won the title in 23. So um, pretty all around Denver. Denver is in my top 3 free agency winners of the offseason so far, with Atlanta, with Houston. Put them right up there. And you know what? I'm saying it early. It is early. It's July 1st, 2025. I'm saying it right now. With this move, Denver will be the 2026 NBA champions with Cam Johnson.
Whoa, slow down, man.
Cam Johnson. I love their lineup. They were one game away being the Thunder, and to make it and they would have won the ship in my opinion if they beat the Thunder. And so I just think that this is a great time to do it. They're building it for Jokic time. This is prime time to go all out. And I love the trade. They even got, I mean, getting rid of Michael Porter Jr.'s contract is a beauty in itself. So again, Cam Johnson for that, just adding a little first rounder in 2032. Not too. I mean, that's a brilliant trade for the Nuggets. So you heard it here first. I love what Denver did, man. What do you think? How they did?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, calling them NBA champs 2026 on July 1st. I'm not willing to go that far out. I think
Tristan.
that I think top three is fair. Top three winners in free agency. I mean, obviously with the Hawks and the Rockets, I think that's pretty much got to be everyone's top three. I might rank the Nuggets third just because I really like what Atlanta and Houston did. But I will say that Cam Johnson was a good ad. The fact that they would get off Michael Porter Jr., Cam Johnson, who averaged 18 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists last year in a terrible tanking Brooklyn team on 47% from the field, 39% from three, and 89% from the line. So he has good splits. He's above average defender. He's not an elite defender, I would say.
No.
So I really do like the Cam Johnson pickup. I think that's a slight upgrade to Michael Porter Jr. I do like Cam Johnson's playmaking much more than Michael Porter Jr. So that's where he elevates his game. Bruce Brown, been bouncing around the past few seasons. If he could find his form that he did with Denver and when they won the NBA championship, sure. But I really like, I mean, 3 teams have passed on him from now. Toronto, Indiana, and New Orleans have, said thank you for your services and let him go. So he's gonna have to. I think he's gonna have to show me something first before I really just jump into believing that he's gonna bounce back to where he was in 2022. But I do like the JV pickup too. They needed a backup big. This is probably Jokic's best backup big in a while. I mean, they were getting DeAndre Jordan was playing a lot of minutes. They didn't really have anyone to give Jokic a breather. And Jonas does have sort of like a similar play style to the Joker. Obviously not anywhere near his level, but like his defense is a problem. That's pretty much JV's biggest weakness. Honestly, same with Jokic too, but JV can hit a 3 every now and then. Kings fans know. He's got solid size, big center for his size, so can't move his feet well, obviously, but I do like that pickup. I will say, like with Cam Johnson, the one bad thing is he doesn't really play a lot of games. He does miss a lot of games, just dating back to 2020, where he played 57 games. 2021, he played 60 games. 2022, 66. And then the 2022-2023 season, he played 42. So, yeah, I mean, Cam Johnson does. And then last year he played 57, and 23-24 he played 58. So he does tend to miss games. So as long as he can stay healthy, then I actually really like this move for Denver. I think they got better. I mean, like we said, this team took Oklahoma City to 7 games with the bare minimum bench that they had last year. So, I mean, if Julian Strawther can take a step up, Tim Hardaway Jr. is very streaky, but I do see why they picked him up. I think that he's a perfect player to put around Jokic. I mean, Jokic elevates all these guys, so like that's the thing you can't really account for. Tim Hardaway Jr. is gonna get more open looks playing around Jokic. He's played in the NBA Finals 2 seasons ago with the Mavericks, has that experience. So I agree. I think the Denver Nuggets had a great off season so far, and you have to give credit to their GM. Ben Tanzer and John Wallace, who just got hired. Ben Tanzer was the interim, and I think he's an assistant role now. But yeah, you have to give them credit because they didn't have much to work with. So I will say, in terms of like coming into the offseason with a little to work with, as opposed to like the Hawks or the Rockets, where they had pieces. The Hawks and the Rockets had pieces to move, like they had valuable assets. The Nuggets didn't have that. They didn't have that luxury. So for them to make these maneuvers and being able to bring in Hardaway, Bruce Brown, JV, and Cam Johnson, all in a couple days, and bolster that bench that was absolutely, like I said, absolutely thin last year, and that's pretty much what cost them almost in the NBA playoffs. So I think this is definitely a scary team. I don't mind you picking them to win the NBA Finals. That's a good bet. Just bet on the Joker.
Mhm.
So that's always a good bet. But
My
yeah, it's
my
definitely,
bet,
it's definitely a
yeah.
top 3 team in the West now. I mean, I think that before this, you could say like Houston and OKC were probably in that tier, in their own
Yeah,
tier, and now I think you could throw Denver in that tier. I
yeah,
think they jumped tiers. So it's a
yeah.
it's a it's a risky. I mean, it's a high risk
It's
bet,
early.
but
Yeah, it's definitely early. Denver with I'm betting that Houston is going to. I mean, I just don't trust Kevin Durant's health. I know that's he's been healthy the last couple seasons and stuff, but before that, he's been not playing too many games, and I'm just betting on like health wise for that. That was a big thing. That's a big key player for them. So I just don't trust him to play 100 games, 85 games, whatever it is, or 90 games, whatever. And then as far as OKC, they were 1 game away, and even that marginal improvement of Cam Johnson, Bruce, Tim Hardaway over what they and Joan and Valanciunas over what they had is significant enough to win them that extra game that they needed to beat OKC. So that's what I'm betting on. But yeah, that it's gonna be interesting.
they also have Darren Holmes coming back from his Achilles injury. I
Oh, that's
think
a
they're
good point.
banking on him,
That's
the
a
rookie
good point.
last year, but he tore his
And he was
Achilles.
supposed to be very
Yeah,
good defensively and athletic.
yeah, I think he's gonna be playing in summer league next week,
Oh yeah,
so we'll see how he looks. But yeah, they're way their bench is way better now, and even their
yeah,
starting lineup with Cam Johnson instead of Michael Porter.
that's huge.
Yeah, they could be scary, man. This Denver team can be scary especially in the
And
playoffs.
hopefully a healthier Jamal Murray for this season and stuff.
Yeah, that's the only question I have with this team right now is
Yeah,
honestly just the health. If they could stay healthy, then they're a good shout to win the West, like you said.
yeah,
Like you said with KD's injury on Houston, but I do think Houston made some really good
yeah,
moves
they did.
after that KD move, so
Right.
maybe they can withstand a KD injury. But no, if KD gets injured, then yeah, I think that it's Denver and OKC, like it was pretty
Yeah,
much this year. I mean, Denver
yeah,
was the only team in the West this year that took OKC to 7. That honestly
yeah.
gave them a fight. So yeah, it's gonna be.
It'll
I
be
mean,
tight.
I'm
I mean,
just looking at their like off season. I mean, 103 million projected salary. So just right under that first apron. They still have their tax mid level exception, their biannual exception, and
mhm.
a vet minimum they could give. So they could still maybe make some moves, but I think that they're pretty much set for the season.
Yeah, I think I am underrating a little bit OKC. I love, all season I've loved OKC, and defensively they're absolutely ridiculous. Um,
Wow,
and so
underrating the champs, man. They just won the
yeah,
title.
yeah. So it's I mean everyone's like going to be a year better. Chet's going to be a year better. All these guys are all young, so 1 year better for all these players is going to be huge. So and they're getting the rookie to Topic, playing this
Yeah,
year, so
it's
that's going to
true.
be good. But you know what? Let's just get right to it. Abu wants to talk about it. The bird in the back. He wants to talk about it. Let's talk Sacramento Kings basketball. They signed Dennis Schroder, 3 years, $45 million to the Sacramento Kings. And Dennis Schroder is now probably the starting point guard for your Sacramento Kings. How much did you love this move, Naf? How much do you love it?
Absolutely hated it. This was my problem coming in with the front office. This is what we said when they hired Scott Perry. Just, I called him just a rah guy. I'm just gonna start calling him rah Perry from now on, man. Rah Perry. He thinks this is the NFL. He thinks this is he runs a team like it's a football team. He just wants to bring in these vets that have been in the league for so long, and then doing all this just to bring in Dennis Schroder, who Tristan asked is Dennis Schroder. I was just about to say Dennis Schroder is a shoot first point guard. Yes, he is a shoot first point guard. So you bring in a shoot first point guard that isn't even a playmaker. Look, I have experience with Dennis Schroder, watching him on the Lakers, and then I watched a lot of Pistons actually last year because they would play at like 4 p.m. So, but he was actually really good on the Pistons. Also, if you watched him in the playoffs, like he was good.
Mhm.
He was good, really good, like on offense, catching and shooting. I think that's his best attribute, honestly. Like he hits his like open threes, like his catch and shoot threes, and he hits a lot of contested ones too. But yeah, just going back to the front office, I have no idea what the hell they're doing, man. This is a disgrace, to be honest. Like, what are you doing bringing in Dennis Schroder when you have? We mentioned it. We mentioned it in the like a couple months ago. We mentioned all the targets they could get, like Cole Anthony, who's getting bought out by the Memphis Grizzlies. He's a cheap point guard. Yeah, he's not necessarily pass first, or Trey Mann, who just re-signed with Charlotte for 3 for 28. He's a young point guard you could take a risk on. There's just so many young options you could go. Like, what's the point of going with so the lineup's gonna be Dennis Schroder, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, and I mean who's like maybe Nickeil or Keegan. Sorry, Keegan and then Sabonis. So I mean, you have one wing on this team. Keegan Murray is the only 3D wing you have on this team. That is an abysmal lineup. I'm sorry. That is a disgusting lineup to watch. I have no idea how the front office lands on a 32-year-old point guard and extends him for 3 years, 45 million, I believe it was. And so 50 million a year. He turns 32, I believe, in September. So when the season starts, he's going to be 32 years old.
Mhm.
Shoot first point guard. Look, this front office. This was my concern with this front office, man. They have no idea what they're doing. They don't have I don't know if they have an analytics guy. They don't have a cap expert. I mean, just with like all the stuff that leaked out about Malik Monk and the sign and trade. I mean, we'll talk about that later, but just an absolute disaster class from the front office. And this is everything I was worried about when they hired Scott Perry. Just a rah motivational guy. He's talking about bringing in these vets. That's why they're connected to Russell Westbrook, Malcolm Brogdon, all these old retread point guards that have been in the league for years. I mean, what are they doing? Like, what is the goal of this team? Like, I don't understand, man. What's your
Some
thoughts?
yeah, I got a lot of thoughts here, some good comments here.
Oh, we could get to the
Cody,
comments first. Yeah.
yeah, Cody Scott Perry's just happy to be here. Probably, man. He was just doing podcasts right before this, like us.
Yeah, man.
uh, let's see, Tristan. He's a poor shooter at that. Yep, I'm looking at his stats this year. He played on 3 teams last season with Brooklyn, Golden State, and Detroit, uh, which is pretty funny. 41% from the field and 34 from three. And if we're just going to look at his Detroit stats, he was 38 from the field and 30 from three, which is absolutely just terrible stats. Um, a lot of good slogans from Perry: diversity of
That's a
thought,
good.
unity of purpose.
That's
Yeah,
a good point. That's exactly what it is. He's a rah Ross, post a quote on the big board, on the whiteboard in the locker room type of guy.
he
What's
always
that
says
show?
culture
What's
is
that
big.
soccer show? That soccer
Yeah,
show on
Ted
Apple?
Lasso.
Ted Lasso. There we go. Scott Perry, Ted Lasso, man. Except this isn't an Apple TV Plus show, so the NBA doesn't work like that,
They
man.
might do the same thing. I think they're gonna have a little believe poster at
Oh,
the
there
top
you
to
go.
tell you
Yeah,
to
the
touch it.
Kings are gonna win 50 games now, man. You'll have a diversity of thought, unity of purpose in front of Golden One Center. So
Yeah, and they keep talking about culture. Keeps bringing back culture. I don't know if like Dennis Schroeder is the best guy for that when he's been on like 13 teams or something
yeah,
crazy
he's
like
got the
that.
rainbow jersey completion. He's
Yeah,
one of the few
uh,
guys in the league with the rainbow jersey montage
not the
without
not
Photoshop. So that's
not the
the
best.
culture you want to build.
No, yeah, he's not the best playmaker. You know, he does a little bit of it like passing, but he is like he's an on-ball shoot first point guard. And he's just not the guy I was looking for. Defensively, not the best. He's not very switchable. Shorter guard, about 6'1", 6'2". So he's not like he's okay on the
He's
smaller guards,
okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but other than that, if you're gonna
Like he
switch,
was okay against Brunson in the playoffs. He was a
yeah,
good, but he's small. He's still 6'1" point guard,
yeah,
32 years old. Like you
he's
said, the
getting
shooting splits are ugly. What's the point? Like you guys, wasn't he clamoring about getting a point guard all off season? Wasn't
yeah.
that what he said in the press conference? That's the first thing he's gonna
And
like a
that's what
point guard. Why don't you just like Chris Paul on a minimum? Wouldn't that be better if you want to bring
yeah.
like old guys in?
100%.
I don't know if Chris Paul would
100%.
join, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah,
man, there's like so many better options out there.
they're trying to get the Russell Westbrook. I don't know what's going on there. If that's still gonna happen, they're rumored to still get a Brogdon or Westbrook move. We said
Look,
that on the show on Sunday.
Kings fans,
Uh,
you should crack. Kings fans deserve to crash out if they sign Russell Westbrook. Like that is about as ugly as a lineup as it could get. I can't even
I'm
imagine the lineup possibilities with Russell Westbrook and Levine and DeRozan. I mean, this is like GM malpractice. I'm sorry. Like you have to investigate Vivek, investigate the entire front office. This is just absolutely disgusting. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how the hell we got here from the past few months, but here we are.
We could talk about their other moves. They traded Jonas Valanciunas for Dario Saric to save like $5 million, so they didn't have to do the sign and trade for Malik Monk. Or that was the rumor that Malik Monk had to go to Detroit, and that was the only way they could do the trade, sign and trade for Dennis Schröder. And I guess
Wow, look at that. Moving all that cap money for Dennis Schroder. Of all players, you're doing all this cap maneuvering for Dennis Schroder of all players.
Priorities.
Honestly embarrassing.
The priorities are there. Dario Saric. Let's talk about his stats this year. Let's talk about his stats. We're getting a guy that averaged about 3.5 points, got about 3 rebounds a game, and 1.5 assists. What's his shooting? You say, oh, maybe he's shooting decent. How does 36% from the field, 27 from 3, and 70 from the free throw line sound? That sounds like a good player to you? I don't think so. Didn't even get a second back for that. That's absolutely atrocious stuff. Not even a second, not 2 seconds, nothing. Just shaved off the $5 million, and that's it. Said goodbye to our backup big. But you know what? The Kings did do something to replace him. They got a player by the name of Drew Eubanks, who's going to save this team for the backup big minutes. Really, really good stuff right there. I believe he was playing for the Clippers right before this.
Yeah, it was a clip. I mean, playing is very generous because these guys were not playing. Dario Saric wasn't getting minutes. Drew Eubanks was not getting minutes. These guys should honestly not even be in the league. I'm being serious. Like Dario Saric is not even an NBA player
Dario
anymore.
Saric for sure shouldn't be playing in the league.
Yeah, he's washed. He's
for
done.
sure he should.
Drew Eubanks has had some good moments.
Yeah, Drew Eubanks is all right.
Yeah, he's had some good moments, but I mean, he should not be getting more than 15 minutes a game.
Yeah,
Dario Saric is washed. Shouldn't even be in the league probably. So for them to do all that just to get money, and then what was up with the Malik Monk? I believe Cody mentioned it. The Malik Monk to Detroit sign and trade stuff. Yeah, what was going on there? Are these team leaks? Why was this such big news last night where you're letting this stuff leak to where they're talking about signing and trading Malik Monk, a 27-year-old guard who's second in bench points since 2020, one of the youngest players probably on the roster, getting $20 million a year, signed through the 2027-2028 season. And you're talking about signing trading him for who knows if they would have gotten anything else back, but Dennis Schroder of all players, and then just not doing that. Maybe I don't know if it was maybe it could have been the backlash they got. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe you think it's the backlash that they got?
Yeah, I think they got a lot of backlash for every Kings media was on top, saying, "Hey, this is terrible stuff."
Yeah, so maybe they just decided that's why they decided to do the JV deal. But then again, how does that stuff even leak out of the organization? So a lot of questionable, honestly, actions by the Kings front office. And
As
this
usual.
is
As usual.
Yeah, as usual. I know there was Kings fans praising their draft, giving them an A+ for their draft, but here we are a week later. Just absolutely back to square one. Honestly, this team's gonna be forced to take next year because this team's going absolutely nowhere next year. And we did their projected position, and it's gonna be one of the worst teams in the West. And they didn't change anything by acquiring Dennis Schroder and Dario Saric and Drew Eubanks. So ugly stuff, man.
Ugly stuff. I will give a piece of hope here. I will give a piece of hope. It's probably like a 5 to 7% chance, but there is about 3-4 teams rumored for Jonathan Kuminga. and I think this guy's the best free agent left, and he's a young player. I want the Kings to get young players, and so if the Kings can get Kuminga, I think that could salvage the offseason. I don't know how they do it. If he's a sign and trade player, if they give him 25 million and they could somehow get rid of like Monk and like Carter or something for Kuminga, I would really appreciate that trade, and that would salvage the offseason quite a bit, in my opinion. You get Kuminga, who's a 22-year-old, still has a lot of potential, great defensive wing, has a lot of offensive firepower, not a good shooter yet, but can get to attack the paint. And I think him and Keegan Murray could definitely be a really good duo on the Kings. But they need Scott Perry's got to work some magic. He's got to work some magic to make this happen. I need Scott Perry to do whatever it takes to get Jonathan Kuminga on this team to salvage the offseason, because right now we got like 8 guards and we need some wings, we need some forwards. I know this is not going to be the last the team that's going to show up on opening day, but you got to make that. You got to find some way make that move. I don't know what it is. If there's you can throw in DeMar and Carter, Monk and Carter. I don't know what you got to do.
DeMar is not a Golden State Warrior. No. I don't know if the Golden State Warriors. I expect Kuminga to re-sign with Golden State at this point. I think that he re-signs with Golden State. But yeah, that's Kuminga's your boy, man. I mean, you've been clamoring to get Kuminga for a while now. I would have no faith personally in this front office to even make a maneuver to do that. Like you said, it would probably be like I think Malik Monk would probably be in the deal,
right?
And like you said, Devin Carter just to make the salaries work.
Yep.
And in a sign and trade, because I think Kuminga is going to be getting like $30 million a year, right? So
yeah, I mean that's what he wants, but maybe he gets like 25 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
he's gonna
want to go to SAC too. Like he's gonna have to want to go to SAC.
The problem is how many players that need to have the ball and are going to be taking shots, because you got Schroder, Levine, Keegan, DeMar, Sabonis, Monk. I don't know if I haven't said Monk. Yeah, but
I think that's the problem with Kuminga is like doesn't he want to go to a team where he has higher usage? It's not going to happen here.
But the way it could happen is somehow we can, let's say we trade Monk and Carter for him, and then somehow we get rid of DeMar. I think that could work. Where it would just be
you get rid of Monk, Carter, and DeMar, and you just bring in Kuminga.
Kuminga and whatever you get for DeMar, maybe like a late first or
I guess you could get like a heavily protected first.
Yeah, something. And I don't know. So I need Scott Perry's not getting a lot of happy campers right now in the Kings.
Hey, rightfully so, man. It's been a disaster offseason.
The 4 teams interested in Kuminga, according to the reports here, are Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls, Sacramento Kings, and the Pelicans. So there's 4 teams, man. I mean, if we're in the rumors, that's decent. Scott Perry.
Pelicans is interesting.
Yeah,
because the Pelicans do have pieces. I think that the Warriors would probably want the most out of those teams. I think if it's the Bulls, it's probably going to be Vucevic and someone else.
Right.
And then who was the other team? The Kings and
Chicago, Miami.
Oh, Miami, right. Yeah, this Kuminga thing is still going on. I don't know what the market is for him, but I don't know. He's a polarizing figure among Golden State fans. So we'll see. I think Golden State has been like one of the biggest losers this offseason. I mean, they legit haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're going to sign Al Horford soon. But I mean, Al Horford's 40 years old. I think that being like your only move in this offseason would be a disaster for Mike Dunleavy over there.
I just want to say Chicago might be wanting to throw Kobe, or like the Warriors might want to white Kobe White. I think that's what the Warriors are trying to get. But I don't know if Chicago shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mortgage. Kobe White had a really good season last year. I would not. I would not send Kobe White for Jonathan Kuminga. Even though Jonathan Kuminga is young, but yeah, that would be good if the Kings can somehow, some way get convince Kuminga to play for them. I mean, that's another wing. Like I just said, they don't have any wings on this team besides Keegan, and this is a wing-dominated league right now. So the Kings still have their biannual for $5 million. Their they have multiple trade exceptions. One for 17 million, I believe that was from the Herder deal. One for 6 million, one for 5 million, and a couple for 4 million. So I don't know if they're gonna like bring back maybe like Trey Lyles, or since he's an unrestricted free agent, use a biannual on him. But there's moves. I mean, there's moves you can make if you're Sacramento. I guess. I mean, Kuminga obviously is probably the biggest, like you said, he's probably the biggest like domino to fall that's left
Right.
in this free agency. I think that's the one everyone's waiting for. But yeah, this is disgusting. Just looking at the starting five: Schroder, Levine, DeRozan, Keegan, and Domas. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible roster construction by Scott Perry. And this is what we said when he got hired, man. This is why I was not worried about the hire. I was not a big fan of the hire. You're hiring these retreads that have been in the league for decades, instead of hiring someone that's young and that's young and up and coming and can maybe bring in like sort of young players instead of these old guys like Dennis Schroder and being linked to Westbrook. And there was young players out there, Cole Anthony, Trey Mann. There was young point guards out there, so it's not like the market was completely dry of them. So just doing all this for Dennis Schroder is insane. And honestly, just looking bleak right now, man. Looking
For the love of God,
ever.
for the love of God, just get a young player.
Just one young player. Even the draft picks are old, man. Like, come on. They would get someone under 21 years old on the Sacramento Kings roster. Like, is that so hard to do, man?
Yeah, you can't be this old and being this bad. Like we're such an old team, and we're probably
That's the
going to
problem.
12th, 13th. So that's a huge problem. And I think that one of the biggest problem also is that the Kings, the worst thing in this league now with this CBA is having bad big contracts. Like if you have a bad big contract, you are absolutely cooked. Look what the Milwaukee Bucks had to do. Look what the Portland Trailblazers had to do. Look what all these other teams that trade these terrible contracts. Kings, they got two of them. They got two of these bad contracts, and that's big time. That's Levine and Sabonis taking up about almost like it's around close to $100 million, but it's probably closer to like 90 million. But $90 million of cap, where the cap is 155, is ugly stuff. That's what's costing the Kings to be in such a dilemma here. Scott Perry,
65% of your cap.
Wow, that's
tied
crazy.
up in Zach LaVine and Domas. Great job, Sacramento.
Two of the worst 20 contracts. Two of the worst, probably 15 to 20 contracts in the league.
Yeah,
it's not fun to be a Kings fan, but I'm going to give a glimmer of hope that there's still time in this off season. So we'll see if any trades happen and any other signings. But we'll see what the flexibility with the Kings have been trying to do, if that gives them any opportunity to do anything. But like you said, it's looking bleak and not much. Really.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about their age. The Kings in 2024 season had the average age of 28.6, which was the oldest in the league. I think they've got that down to about 26.3, which is still one of the oldest in the league. So it's one thing when you're young and you suck, but when you have an old average age and you suck, that is the worst place you can be as a NBA team, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, it's tough to talk about, but it is what it is, and hopefully they can figure something out in the next week to get a free agent or something. So it's not over yet, but so far not looking great. Let's get to some like rapid fire, some other NBA notable transactions here. Another team that we did mention earlier that they've been doing really good stuff is the Atlanta Hawks. Nickeil Alexander-Walker to the Hawks. Another good move by the Hawks. It is a 4-year, $62 million contract, which is about $15.5 million a year. So very good. Nickeil's very good. I like him as a player. Very good wing. 26 years old, young player still. I like what Atlanta's doing. I got to see this, but I want to see what their starting lineup is. Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, either Zachary Ricochet or Porzingis and Okongwu. Like two of those three will be starting. So that's a pretty good. Most likely, it'll probably be Jalen Johnson, Ricochet, and
Daniels.
Porzingis.
Porzingis, yeah.
Yeah. So really good. And then they got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They can go young, small ball with that. And yeah, I don't know. I like their team, and I think, like we've mentioned, I think they'll be a top 6 team in the East. Like they're one of the winners of the offseason, and this is Trae Young's best team for sure. As an Atlanta Hawk from the time he's been drafted. So, what do you think of how the Hawks have been with this addition?
Yeah, I think the Hawks were. If I had to like rank the biggest winners of free agents, I think the Hawks are number one. I think what
Oh
Onsi
wow!
Salah did with this offseason was an absolute masterclass. Onsi Salah, this is how you hire. These are GMs you hire. Sacramento, take note. He used to work in the Warriors front office. Just a bright young mind, and just look at what he's did with this Atlanta Hawks roster. I mean, like you said, I love the Nickeil Alexander. They used their trade exception on that. So they brought him in for, like you said, 15 million. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, a great wing. Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Risa Jalen Johnson, and Kristaps, like you said, is probably going to be the starting 5. But at the end of games, when they go all defensive, you take out Trae Young, you put in Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Good luck scoring against that defensive lineup with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Risa Jalen Johnson, and Kristaps. I mean, that is length on the defensive end right there. And even Onyeka Okongwu coming off the bench, he's a solid defender. Mohamed Gay got some minutes last year. He didn't look too bad. And then another signing that we did not mention, but Luke Kennard, who I believe signed for 2 for $11 million. Great signing, great 3-point shooter. That is another absolute sensational steal by Onsi Salah and this Hawks front office. And I know I said top 4 last time. I'm just loving this team even more. I'm almost calling them my top 2 team in the East next year.
Whoa!
I'm going to say that right now.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm going out on a limb. I think the Atlanta Hawks will be the second best team in the Eastern Conference in 2025, 2026, behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think that those 2 teams will be in their own tier. I think New York and Orlando will be close. New York and Orlando will be close, but I would put this Hawks team above them. So I think the Hawks will be second in the East next year.
Wow!
I just love this roster, man. Luke Kennard, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Onyeka Okongwu. I even like Austin Newell from Georgia that they drafted with the 23rd pick. And they have New Orleans Pelicans unprotected first-round pick next year. I mean, I don't know if they bring back Garrison Matthews, who's a free agent. They just lost Larry Nance. I mean, they didn't lose much in free agency. Their salary is probably going to be around 180 million, which is under the first apron, which is 196 million. So yeah, I mean, look, it's looks good on paper. We'll see how it looks when they're actually on the court together. But man, I just love these players that they have on the roster, and this is how you build a team around a point guard like Trae Young, small point guard, defensive liabilities. You put all these lengthy wings and interior defenders and bigs around him. And yeah, they cooked, man. They cooked this offseason. So I'm a big fan of what Atlanta did.
It's crazy because the rumors were, Kings had a deal to land Trae Young if they wanted to do it, and they didn't pull the plug, and now all of a sudden they got a nice ass team around Trae Young. So
yeah, man, you went from Trae Young and LaMelo and Darius Garland and Zion. Remember, Dennis Schroder, man. That's how you do it, Kings.
Oh man,
that is how you do it. I mean, look, even if the Kings got him, they would have not built. They would have not built a team like this. Is how you build a team. The Kings would have had no assets to build a team like this around him. It wouldn't even come close.
Yeah.
I can see why. I can see the Hawks wanting to get off of Trae Young. I think he's expiring after next year. He has 2 more years left on his deal, so he's going to be interesting. But I assume they extend him, and yeah, their front office seems like the type to get off of a guard like Trae Young if it doesn't work, just because small point guard analytics can be anti-Trae sometimes. But look, he's a he's led the league in assists for like the past few seasons. So I think that they're just gonna let it run, and if it all looks good, which I think it will, then I think they're just gonna sign him to that max
Yeah,
extension. But we'll see how it looks
yeah.
when the season actually starts.
He has a player or he has a player option season after. So
Yeah. Oh, season after. Yeah. So not an expiring, but next
yeah,
year,
yeah, yeah.
this summer. Yeah.
And
Okay.
then unrestricted free agent 27, 28. But yeah, it's yeah, we'll see how they're probably gonna keep an eye on it, see how they do this year, and if they don't like what they're seeing though, they
Yeah,
might
they'll probably
trade him
get
or
off
something.
him. Yeah,
Yeah,
they might trade him if things somehow go south.
yeah. And that
Yeah.
might be the what maybe that's what the Hawks told the Kings. Like, hey, like we're gonna give it a shot around Trey. And let's say the Kings wanted like I don't know what the trade was. Let's say that was on the table. If it was like 3 firsts, Zach LaVine, Devin Carter, Monks, whatever it was.
I think
Um,
Keegan would have to been in the deal.
yeah, and like maybe like Atlanta says, hey, like they said, hey, we're gonna try to run it with this team. If we suck, then we'll do it the trade that you guys liked, which was without Keegan Murray or something like that. So that
Yeah.
the trade price would go down a little bit, near the trade deadline. But I don't know, just some food for thought. Let's just end it off with the Memphis Grizzlies. A couple moves from there. They signed, extended Jaren Jackson Jr. to a big time contract. Uh, I'm trying to find out the actual contract here. Um, but they also got Ty Jerome for 328. They got Santi Aldama 52.5 for 3 years. They've been busy today. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is 5 years, 240 million. Craziest part about that is he needs to get surgery like tomorrow or something.
Yeah. I think he was
Uh,
doing some off court like playing pickup basketball in or something with his I don't know, but here it is he got turf toe pretty much.
yeah,
Playing basketball is what the
turf
announcement
toe.
said.
Yeah.
So terrible. This
Wonder
team might be
if,
cursed, man. This team might be cursed.
did they do that? Did he get hurt after the signing or what? Like,
Let's hope the ink's dry on that contract, man, because that is not a good injury to have if you're a big.
yeah, that's a $50 million player a year with Jared Jackson Jr. So we talk
I
about
think he
bad
would have been
contracts.
eligible for more too if he would have got All NBA, but I don't think
Oh
he
yeah, for
did.
sure.
So I think he could have got even more. But yeah, 5 for 240, still a nice chunk of money.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if Jaron Jackson Jr. is healthy, I think it'll be fine. Hopefully he is. And Memphis is still doing work. So they traded Desmond Bane for like 5 first rounders, and they kind of basically swapped him for Ty Jerome. So it's not terrible. Ty Jerome, I don't think is that good, but decent shooter, little bit of some playmaking, has some potential, still young. Let's see, just want to see how old he is. He is um, let's see, 27.
20, yeah,
Okay, 27, not too young, but
that's not a bad
uh,
contract. 3 for
yeah,
28, right?
yeah. So
That's not
yeah,
bad.
they didn't spend too much. It's almost 10 million a year.
Probably a
That's
player option maybe at the end of that, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean they're gonna be if all things go right, their starting five is gonna be Jaw, KCP, who they just traded for in the backcourt, Jalen Wells and Jaren Jackson in the front court, and then Zach Edey at center. I don't know if this is probably a playing team at best in the West. I think this is probably in the 9 to 10, 8 to 10 range for me. Coming off the bench, they have Scottie Pippen, Ty Jerome, Cedric Howard, your boy, um, Santi Aldama, who you said they just extended as well for 3 for 52, which is a lot actually for Santi
hmm
Aldama. 3
it's
for
like
52 is a lot.
17
Um,
million. Yeah,
I think they just extended Jay Huff too. I think Jay Huff is the backup center at this. I don't think they have any. So Jay Huff, who they just extended, is going to be their
they still
backup
got
center.
Brandon Clark, right?
Yeah, I guess Brandon Clark can play backup center. He's just kind of small for me
Yeah,
to play backup center. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I like their second round pick, Javon Small. I like Cedric Howard, but I don't know. This team already cursed with this Jaren Jackson injury. Obviously, Jalen Wells, local Sacramento kid. And
yep,
then KCP needs to find his touch again. I feel like there's moves to be made here. They need to make
yeah.
more moves.
I
This
mean,
can't be the final roster. If you're the Memphis Grizzlies front office, Kleiman has to. I feel like, well, they do have all those picks from the Desmond Bain trade. I
Yeah.
think they did use one of those picks to move up to acquire to draft Cedric Howard from 16 to 11. So
Yeah.
they still have some of those picks. We'll see what they do. But if this is a roster going into the season, this is a playing team at best. I'm not a unless John
Okay.
Morant can really get back into that MVP form, but I don't know, man. This is a roster that doesn't really excite me, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I still think like I'm thinking they're around that 7 to 9 range, like you're saying.
Yeah,
Maybe even 6. I could see 6.
I don't
The
see
6
it.
seed.
I don't see it.
If
How are they
I'm
gonna?
going Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets,
Yeah,
Timberwolves, that's 4.
that's
So right
four
now
locked in.
so they're in 5th place right now.
Clippers will be better.
Uh,
You don't think so?
is that a lock?
I would say so. I don't. I
I don't know
mean,
if it's a just it's health wise, man. I don't know. Like is Kawhi is I
okay.
don't know.
Well, I guess.
Denver.
I mean, let me see who else. Who
I'm
else
just
is in
saying,
the
like,
West?
okay. So then you got the Warriors.
Oh, the Warriors will be better. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings the Memphis to 6. If you get the Warriors, Wolves, Nuggets, Lakers, Rockets, Thunder. Actually, wait, Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Warriors. Okay, so 7th. If yeah, all those teams are
You
ahead,
think
then
they're gonna be better? You think the Mavericks are gonna be better than the Grizzlies?
nah, not without Kyrie. Without Kyrie, I don't. I like the Grizzlies aren't that bad. I mean, they got 48 wins last year. That's the same amount as the Warriors. That's one less than the Timberwolves, 2 less than the Clippers,
You
two
don't think
less
they
than the
got
Nuggets.
worse though?
Um, yes, slightly, yeah, but I think that they still have some moves
It
to
just
make.
depends on Jaw, man.
Yeah,
If Jaw, it just depends on Jaw. To be honest, like Jaw has to, because I mean the rest of the guys like or KCP too. Like I
yeah,
don't know who else. GG Jackson, Cedric Howard. It's a lot of like unknowns.
yeah,
So that's the problem. Are these guys going to step up? Brendan Clark towards Achilles too a couple seasons ago. Jay Huff, just relatively new. Santi
yeah.
Aldama just got paid. Vince Williams. I mean, it's just a lot of like young unknown guys that have had, they've had to play a lot just because all the Memphis Grizzlies injuries. But when it's like your best like 8, 9 players, like who's gonna miss out and who's gonna play, and Zach Edey is also, I believe Zach Edey also had surgery this summer. So yeah, he did on his ankle, I believe. So we'll see, man. It's a long time until October, but yeah, if I had to say, I'd project this team to finish in the 8 to 10 range. This screams playing team to me. I just don't see how they compete for a top 6.
Yeah. It's gonna be it'll be. I think a lot of things got to go right for them to get that 6th spot, but
Yeah,
it could. I still think there's a chance for it if things go right. They were right there with all those other teams, but
yeah.
appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody coming out here and joining us for the free agency updates, stuff like that. If you guys want to and then do all that fun stuff, as I
We're gonna talk
usually
about
say,
LaRavia, man.
I don't want to talk about. We've talked about enough of
LaRavia, welcome to Los Angeles, Jake
that.
LaRavia.
Only had to
Hey,
pay.
man, I'm excited for Jake LaRavia to come to the Lakers, but Lakers have had an absolutely atrocious offseason so far. Not as bad as Sacramento, but they let DFS go. Dorian Finney-Smith, who I would have liked to keep, who just signed for
Mhm.
52 for the Rockets, which is a lot of money for a 32-year-old.
A lot of years
A
too.
lot of years. That's a problem. It's the years. I think Jake LaRavia is an upgrade on Dorian Finney-Smith. I like Jake
Whoa,
LaRavia. You don't think so?
an upgrade's crazy.
Yeah, I think he could be. I think he's just as good defensively, and he's younger. He's way younger. That's the thing. Jake LaRavia is like what, 24?
Nah, I don't. I think DFS is still a much better player.
Nah, I
I don't
think
think
Jake LaRavia is good.
LaRavia did not have a good market. I think he would have went back to the Kings if Lakers kept DFS. I think the Kings would have kept him.
I think the Lakers should have tried to get both. I don't know why they let. Well, I know why they let Dorian Finney-Smith go. There was beef with the front office,
Yeah,
and Rob Pelinka was saying his ankle is messed up and trying to drive his value down. And hey, rightfully so. DFS took that personally, and it was a broken relationship. So that's why he left. I was surprised he went to the Rockets. That was a great grab by Houston.
Yeah, big time.
But yeah, the Lakers just an absolutely disastrous. Just as, I mean, not as bad as Sacramento, but man, just an absolute nightmare. Rob Pelinka. It's time to find a new GM. I can't believe they extended him just because his buddy Nico Harrison did him a favor and gave him Luca. But I mean, to let like Brooke Lopez go to the Clippers for 2 for 11. I really thought like if we could have got like a stretch five, like I know Brooke Lopez is old, but he's
Would've
still
been a
like
good
such
fit.
a big body. Yeah, like
Yeah.
such a big body on the interior, and he can shoot the three. He could shoot from deep. He just would have been a good fit. I know that obviously it would probably just been like a one season, and then he probably would have retired in a year or two. But still, I think I think he's a better fit than Aiton. I
Mhm.
know Aiton's going to be probably cost just as much, but I just don't. I just like I said on the last pod, I'm out on Aiton. But yeah, man, been a nightmare for us Lakers fans this summer too. So Lakers and Kings fans can find
Rejoice.
some common ground there with our front offices torpedoing our chances, or just torpedoing our hopes, man. But at
Yeah.
least we have Luca, I guess.
Yeah, you guys will be fine for the next 5, 7 years, man.
And we got LaRavia now, so I do like LaRavia.
But yeah, and it was only 500,000 more than what we could have offered, so pretty crazy stuff
Yeah, it
right
was like
there.
what the Kings offered 2 for 11. We
Yeah, and
signed him
then
for 2 for 12, 2 for 11
yeah,
and a half, right? And the Lakers signed him for 2 for 12. So
yeah, not
yeah,
much difference. And I thought he liked
you think it was a
Sacramento.
money? No,
I
I
think
think
he
he
just
just
wanted to be
wanted
with
to play in
Harrison.
LA
Yeah, I think he wanted to be
because there was
on
that
Harrison.
Austin Reeves video we talked about
Yeah,
earlier that probably swayed him too.
yeah.
So,
But yeah, it's
any other
pretty
moves?
well, we'll see how the rest of the free agency goes.
I
The
would say
Cavs,
like a team that kind of under the radar who I like their moves was the New York Knicks.
yeah.
I like the Knicks moves. They don't have a coach. I mean, it's looking like it's gonna be Mike Brown, but
Ball.
signing Yabusele, I think for like 2 for 11, they might use their biannual exception on that, and bringing in Jordan Clarkson after the Jazz bought him out. I think their
Mhm.
bench got way better, and
That is
now
very
they're gonna
under,
actually
yeah.
use their bench now that Thibodeau isn't there. So yeah, I'll say under the radar like winners. Obviously, they're not in that Hawks Rockets. Who's the other team that
Denver
Denver Hawks Rockets Denver biggest winners by far. But I think that like under the radar,
next year, yeah.
yeah, next tier I would put the Knicks there. I like the Yabusele and Jordan Clarkson for cheap deals.
That's a good
Um,
call. But you don't
and
put
then
them at top two. You're not putting them top
no,
two.
no, what 2?
No, I'm saying for the East because you had the Hawks in the as a top two
Yeah,
team.
no, I don't think Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele. I still, if they get Mike Brown, no. I guess like another team that I do think that did have a better offseason than the Knicks and is also in the East that we didn't really talk about is the Pistons. We talk
Mhm.
about that Duncan Robinson
Yeah,
deal. Duncan Robinson, who I mean, they wanted to bring in Monk, but so they essentially got rid of. They had to get rid of like Malik Beasley, who I think they hope to re-sign. So
yeah.
they essentially got rid of like Malik Beasley. Tim Hardaway went to Denver. We just
And
talked
Schroeder,
about and Schroeder, and then they picked up Duncan Robinson. Um,
Karis LeVert.
Harris LeVert for 2 for 29,
Yeah.
and they're getting Jaden Ivey back. So I think the Pistons are going to be I think they're a lock to be top 6
They got Paul
next year.
Reed, I believe, too, for 2
Yeah,
for
Paul
11.
Reed, they're re-signed. Beef Stew will be coming back from injury. So
Oh,
you're
yeah.
getting Jaden Ivey back from injury. Karis LeVert 2 for 29. I believe Duncan Robinson was 3 for 52. Duncan Robinson's a good movement shooter. That's pretty much his strength. Obviously,
Yeah.
weak defender.
Just need shooters
Um,
around Cade and you're good.
Yeah, but you put exactly. I mean, like he might be a better fit than Monk, to be honest, playing
Yeah.
with Cade, just because he doesn't need the ball and he
Yep.
can move so much. And then Karis LeVert too. Karis LeVert splits like him just wide open. Like he's a good shooter if he's open. He just takes bad shots a lot of the time, so that's why
Yeah.
his percentages can look worse than they actually are. But he knocks them down when they're open. And 2 for 29. I think they used a mid level on him, so or one of the exceptions they had. But yeah, I like the Pistons and Knicks. I'll just say I like the Pistons and Knicks as under the radar winners for this free agency.
I like
But yeah,
yeah.
not tier 1, tier 2 for sure.
No, that's a pretty good take. the Knicks did have like no one's really talking about their moves and stuff. So
Yeah. No one's really talking about them. And with the Pistons, like the Pistons are getting
yeah.
Ivy back and LeVert and
Well,
Duncan
those are more
Robinson.
like injuries and stuff. Ivy and
Yeah, Ivy's more injuries, but LeVert and Duncan. I think Duncan Robinson's like a great fit with them, with Cade, like you said.
Duncan's good, but
He just can't defend. That's his weakness. He can't defend, and he can't really play make or create his own shot.
yeah,
But
his
I think
defense
he's a
is
good
bad.
shooter.
But
I
yeah,
mean, Malik Beasley couldn't really. I guess Malik Beasley was a better defender, but
yeah, but yeah, just
and
have no.
Tim Hardaway too.
Yeah, yeah, he's a career. Duncan Robinson's career 40% from three. So
Yeah, he's a sniper from three.
um,
But I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, can't really think of any other like major moves or major teams who it was just it was sort of like a weird off season with the caps and the aprons.
yeah, the pace of the free agency is kind of weird. I don't even know like any big moves that's
I guess
happened.
Pacers could be like a loser. I think Pacers are gonna be like a playing team next year.
Yeah, no Tyrese and
No
Myles Turner gone.
Tyrese, Myles Turner gone. We talked about them earlier, but yeah, they're
Yeah,
probably gonna be a playing team now. So that's pretty much all the teams we just ran
but yeah,
through.
I appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for all the viewing and the likes and you guys keeping that up. Look out for our shorts. We're throwing a lot more shorts out there, so appreciate you guys if you like them, view them. They're pretty good stuff. Nice highlights of the tape here, and yeah, we'll be on. We'll be here for all the news and stuff that's coming up. Summer League's coming up, so we'll be here a couple times a week. Check us out, usually around 9-10 o'clock, and we'll be talking more
Yeah.
basketball. Hopefully,
Hey, Kings fans, tune into Summer League. That might be the best basketball you see all year with your Summer League roster. So make sure you guys watch Summer League because once October hits, it's gonna be ugly. So make sure you guys watch Summer League because once October hits, it's gonna be ugly. So
Hopefully, we'll give them a little bit more time. But yeah,
Summer
it's
League
looking pretty.
champs, maybe Summer League champs.
Yeah, Summer League chance. That might be the brightest
The
thing to see all
banner.
year. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Take care, guys.
Appreciate y'all.